Lanzamiento, aquí viene un batazo de Mundito entre right center field, la bola pica, se extiende, viene anotando Stott, empata el juego, también manda para la bola Turner anota y los Phillies se van arriba. Se prepara, Mundito en segunda, el lanzamiento, batazo profundo para el center field, la bola se va, Schwarber Bomb, ¡campanazo! Aquí viene el lanzamiento, swing y lo ponchó. Ponche de Alvarado, amigos. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of Phillies Weekly. A very eventful week, we might say. And today we have a packed show with some great guests. And looking forward to talking about the Fightin Phils. This was not the best of our weeks. We went 2-4 and had a rough time in New York, and then had a better time in Chicago. But look, with everything said here, we're gonna have a packed show with two great guests. Let me bring the two stars of the show here. How about that? Let me see here. We can bring them right now. Tim and John Foley from on Patterson. It's let's see here, guys. Let's bring them on. There we go. The superstars of the show. How are you guys?
I'm good. Good to be back on with you.
Same here, Tim. John, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just watching these games, trying to stay optimistic.
Come on. We got to be optimistic, Zay. We got an interesting record. We're still on the plus side, 15-13. So as long as we're about 500 in the beginning of the year, I think we'll be in good shape. So look, bottom line, week 5 was not a pretty week, 2-4. We went 15-13. We're now 15-13. We're right now at home 9-4, away 6-9. And we are 4 games right now, but we're going to be 4.5 games after the Mets are like beating. I mean, they have a massive beating over the Nationals right now. I think they have 19 runs on them so far. So it's going to be 4.5 games starting Monday, starting Tuesday when we start play. Look, it's not been pretty. I mean, when you look at some of the inside numbers, we're 5-5 over the last 10 days. We are in the last 10 games. In March, we were 3-1, and in April, we're 11-21. And against the National League East, we're now 5-7. So, look, we started 5-4, but that beating, that showing in New York was not pretty. Tim, give us your thoughts about the week. I mean, how it started and how it ended, and your overall perspective where the fightings are right now.
Well, I think you were right. It was bordering on disaster when you got swept in New York, and then you lost on Friday 4 in a row and just had been in a funk. Then they came out, the bats woke up Saturday, they won again on Sunday. So I think they avoided disaster. Obviously, 2-4 is not a successful road trip, but being able to win Saturday without Jose Alvarado being needed out of the bullpen, and then Sunday being able to have Jordan Romano come in and look pretty good in that extra inning relief appearance. I think there were some positive signs. Still, though, I mean, you're kind of figuring out what is this team exactly, and a year ago, by this point, I think they were starting to really get into a stretch where they looked like the best team in baseball. They're not there right now.
Yeah. How about you, John? What are your perspective in general, kind of where the team is right now?
Yeah, I think Tim's right. You know, they avoided disaster, right? There's the old cliche, you can't win the division in April, but you can lose it. I think they were in a dangerous spot after that Mets series. Things could have spiraled from there. So I give them credit for not continuing down that path. And, you know, now they took 2 out of 3 against a good Cubs team. And now they're 15-13 overall. That puts them in a fine position, you know, with a ton of season left, if they get things straightened out. Now there are, of course, concerns, especially in the bullpen.
Yeah, let's talk about the concerns. I mean, when you look at the kind of the overall perspective, at a high level, we're going to go into kind of where our hitting is, where our starting pitching is, and where our bullpen is. Let's start at a high level. What are the biggest concerns? Like the top concern for you, Tim, what is it?
It continues to be the bullpen. I think there's concerns in the lineup, but The bullpen would be the biggest concern. That can you win games on a day where Jose Alvarado doesn't pitch? There's just so little margin for error for Alvarado, Kerkering, and Strahm that if one of those guys got injured, if one of them, like we saw Orion Kerkering go through a few outings where he didn't look good, if one of them struggles, you're just really thin. Now, if Jordan Romano starts to get into form, you buy yourself a little bit more margin. But yeah, I still think in general they're short in the bullpen.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, John? Beyond the bullpen, is there another area of concern from your perspective?
Yeah, I think the top concern has to be the bullpen. For all the reasons Tim listed. I will talk about the lineup a little bit. I mean, part of it is just who these guys are. We've seen it for a few years now. They'll have games and stretches where they look unstoppable, the offense, and then they have the long stretches where they struggle. And I think that we just understand that's who they are at this point. They're going to catch fire sometimes and carry the pitching. The starting pitching is what we had hoped it would be for the most part. So you feel good about that. And, it really is going to be the bullpen is the unknown. How that goes for the rest of the season, I think, will tell us a lot about the team's success for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Look, the reality, I'll add one more component to this. And now we have kind of the image of Kepler there. I think the production, particularly in center field and to a certain extent left field, I think we have significant issues in terms of production. I do believe in Kepler. I do believe that he's a major league hitter that will come out of kind of, to a certain extent, the funk. He did hit better this weekend or this past week. On the road, I think he was hitting around 400, and we're beginning to see he hit a home run on Saturday, and we're beginning to see signs here and there. But we expect more from Kepler, particularly if he's going to be playing every single day. So, but center field is still a big question mark. I do believe that we should give Rojas an opportunity now that March is hurt and something happened. He has like a cramp or something that took him out of the lineup yesterday that people got a little concerned about. But production in center field needs to improve. I do believe that is one area that we need to continue to work on. Let's start with hitting. Let's talk a little bit about our hitting, and then we'll go kind of starting pitching and then relief pitching. Here is kind of where we are in general with the stats. We're hitting 4.43 runs a game, which is 11th now in MLB. When you look at some of the stats here, look at these numbers here. I don't know if you can see them clearly. I try to put the previous week. We were 7th last week, producing 4.67 runs, 4.7 runs a game. We went down to 4.4, and the Mets series we only score 8 runs in total, which was really extremely bad. And then when you look at our hitting on the road, when you look at some of the numbers here, they are very, very concerning. Look at that. Harper 2 for 23, Schwarber 3 from 21, Castellanos 5 for 24, and Turner was 3 for 21, but he got 3 hits yesterday. So he basically got 3 hits yesterday, and that raised the average from about 120 to 174. These are the guys that are getting the money for the team, where the expectations are extremely high. Look at our power numbers. Look where the team is ranked right now in home runs. 22 home runs, only 25. We're 25th in Major League Baseball. OPS, we're kind of middle of the pack, as well as the percentage of strikeouts. I think we've improved from where we were last year at 21.2, kind of where that's average in MLB. We were 1 in walks. Now we're number 3. And then those are runners left in a scoring position. We kept it. We're 27th in MLB. So, look, it's this. We're not slugging yet. How Topper likes to say it. I don't think this team is slugging yet. Do the history of these guys show that we're going to be able to slug probably in the summer? Probably the answer is yes. But I don't know. Give me your thoughts in general about our hitting.
Well, I would say the Mets series was just downright bad. The Cubs series was not ideal weather to hit in. And some people might scoff at that. That's the reality. Wrigley Field has this perception from some people because they watched one game where Sammy Sosa hit a bunch of home runs or something that it's a hitter's park. It's not. I think it's ranked like 29th in terms of MLB park factors over the last 3 years in terms of whether it's a good place for hitters. And you saw it this weekend. Yeah, there's days where the wind's going to blow out. Those days where the wind is blowing in, though, it was pretty much impossible to hit a home run over the weekend. Now, granted, Saturday the Phillies had a great game, but I look at the 4.43 runs per game this week, and I say there's an outlier in there. Saturday drugged that number up. Otherwise, that number, they're probably close to 30.
That's our average. No, that's our average for the year. So we were seventh. Last week, we were seventh in all of MLB for the entire year. Now we're 11th.
Yeah, well, and that tells you to be 11th despite having had Saturday's game. It tells you how bad the rest of the week was. I mean, to score 8 runs in the entire series against the Mets, it's brutal. The weather is going to warm up. The Phillies are they haven't gone to the West Coast yet. They haven't played. I don't believe they played indoors yet. Unless I'm missing. So like that is a real factor, but it's also a real factor. They just need more out of the big guys. Harper and Schwarber are not going to have great weeks every week.
Sure.
Castellanos was great, had a down week. You can live with that. Trey Turner, they need more out of offensively and defensively, and they need way more out of Alec Boehm. I know he's still digging himself out of a hole from the first couple weeks of the season. His OPS right now is 527. I mean, it is what it is. They need way more out of him.
Yeah.
I'll go a little big up when it comes to the excuses about the weather. It just feels like it's something different every day. It's one day it's shadows. Okay, we couldn't hit today because of the shadows. Another day, the starting pitcher on the other team was particularly sharp. Another day, the wind's blowing in. At a certain point, these numbers, all these factors sort of average out, and you look at your rankings of where you are. This is not a team that should be, I don't care what the weather has been. I don't care how sunny or shady it's been. To be 25th in the league in home runs with some of the bats you have in this lineup is just unacceptable. So
we're not producing runs. I mean, that's what you see on the right-hand side. When it counts, we're not producing.
Side. That's the number that is just devastating, that the runners left in scoring position, because you do see guys getting on base.
Let's talk about Citi Field. Go ahead. Finish your thought there.
Who's the guy that has been their go-to hitter with runners in scoring position the last 4 years?
Alec Boehm.
Yeah, and Alec Boehm is not hit with runners in scoring position or with runners not in scoring position this season.
Fair point.
Yeah,
that's a real fair point. We are 1-7 over the last 8 games in Citi Field. I think there is something going on there and beyond the park, that is the bigger outfield. There is something, and I don't know if it's. It might be the mentality that we're bringing to the games with the Mets. I don't know what it is, but we're not showing up in Citi Field, and we need to show up. We need to show to be able to win.
Yeah, they do. They do. I don't know that there's like an exact theory. They did catch the Mets when they were really hot last year in the postseason. I get that. Right now, I just think the Mets are a better team than the Phillies, but they're not so much better than what the Phillies showed during this series this week. So John's right. Things are going to even out over the course of a season, but that only goes so far. Eventually, it's just like you need to produce.
And you're only going to play twice in New York. Against the Mets. So I think we got the Yankees this year in New York as well. But you're only going to be able to go there one more time before a potential postseason. If everyone makes the postseason. So it's something to be concerned about because the Mets, and I was hearing, Matt Gelb talked about this. The Mets are like the Phillies started last year right now. Their pitching is clicking in all cylinders. They're doing a tremendous job. But the reality is that, look, our pitching is doing their part. I think Wheeler allowing 2 runs. Christopher, we threw our best pitchers there. Nola allowed a couple runs we couldn't hit. The reality in the Mets series is our hitters didn't show up, and it happened the same thing last year.
Yeah, I guess the only silver lining you can take out of this is that the Phillies had some really bad years in Atlanta, and then they got hot at the right time 2 years in a row in the playoffs in 2022 and 2023, and they went into Truist Park and split both times. So sometimes what you do in the regular season isn't necessarily indicative of what's going to happen in October, but you need to win some of these games to be in October too.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, like, a team always has another team's number until they don't. So if the Mets had the Phillies number all season long and, they meet in a postseason series again, the Phillies can correct it, then that's fine. I do, you do start to get concerned. You start to get concerned after a little while about, is there something in the Phillies' heads when they're in that park in New York, or when they look at the Mets, that, man, these guys just have our number, and do they feel like the Mets are a better team? That if they do, that's a dangerous place for them.
There's a whole confidence, psychological part to this that I think is critically important. So hopefully when they come here, we show them what we're capable of doing, and we got to hit much better, because our pitching has been there all year. And when you look at kind of where this team is, this is where starting pitching is. I mean, there's some amazing numbers, what they've been able to do. We're at 3.42 ERA. We're number 6 in MLB. They, believe it or not, they won eight. They have 8 wins and 9 losses, while the bullpen is 6-3, which is, to me, remarkable, because our bullpen is 28th in ERA and our starting pitching is number 6. But the reality is, I mean, we have not been hitting the way this team is capable of hitting and supporting our starting pitching. I mean, and we saw it in the Met series.
I think the encouraging part, and that trend probably is because they've had so many games where they didn't score till the 7th or 8th inning. So that they didn't give run support for the starters, which is kind of one of the reasons wins and losses aren't a great way to judge starting pitchers. But in terms of the starting staff as a whole, they've been 6th, and I think they have a chance to get better. Like, the Mariners just lost Logan Gilbert for maybe the season, but certainly a long time. Like, that's one of the better staffs. The Phillies, on the flip side, they're going to get Ranger Suarez back in the near future. I don't know exactly when. Christopher Sanchez, it seems, avoided disaster. We'll see when he makes his next start. And Aaron Nola looked really good last night. So, I mean, Jesus Luzardo is going to have a bad start. It's going to happen at some point. But in general, you still feel like this has a chance to be the best rotation in baseball, which is a good sign and probably something they need, considering how the bullpen has pitched so far.
Yeah. So we're going to have Luca Arcaini is going to, from Crossing Broad, is going to join us in a couple of minutes. But I wanted us to kind of talk a little bit about, I mean, Luzardo has been incredible, man. That guy, 3-0, 173 ERA. In our wildest dreams, we would not have ever imagined Luzardo being this good. We know he's very capable. We need to be careful with the innings. I mean, this is a guy that have not pitched a lot of innings throughout his career, and he's had injury issues. So we need to be very, very careful. And I know that we've been kind of stretching him to the max because we needed it. Particularly, what was it, Saturday, that we needed him to pitch the way he pitched. But he's a guy that we're going to have to be very, very careful how we manage that whole component. But he's been amazing. Christopher was the injury scare of the week. Everything appears to be okay. That's what the indications. He threw a bullpen yesterday, to my best knowledge, and everything that came out okay. And the bigger question is, when can he go back on the mound? Because we're going to have Wheeler on Tuesday, and then the question is Taiwan going to pitch on Wednesday? And I don't know what the rotation is going to look like this week for the Phils.
Yeah, we're going to find that out tomorrow, really. I don't have a great answer. It's going to depend how Sanchez came out. Do they think Ranger Suarez needs to make another rehab appearance, which, I mean, based on how he's pitched, I don't really know why he would. But I know Scott Lauber reported yesterday that it seemed like he probably would make one more minor league appearance, and I trust Scott. So if that's the case, then maybe you push Taijuan Walker up, because maybe the next time through the rotation he's not going to be in the rotation. So, yeah, I think overall the rotation's in a good place, and certainly in a good place that Christopher Sanchez, it seems, avoided a major injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's one unit you feel good about, it's the starting rotation, right? Even with some injury concerns about Sanchez and, guys working their way back, you do feel like that's going to be the identity of the team for the season.
Yeah, that's a strength of the team without a doubt.
Yeah, can you score runs for these guys? And Oscar, you made a great point about Luzardo. You don't want to wear him down, especially early in the season. But that's really going to be a function of the bullpen. Can they get a couple more guys that they can rely on. Because if you've only got, Alvarado and Strom and maybe Kerkering in the pen that you trust, the tendency is going to be to try to stretch out your starters maybe an inning more than you would.
And that's what's happening right now,
Yeah.
because our relief pitching has not been solid. I mean, 29th in MLB. We are trying to leverage our strength, which is the starting pitching, and it's going to, at some point or another, is going to impact us. And the problem is, my biggest concern is that we have two issues. We have an issue at the top, wearing down the Luzardos, the Christopher Sanchez of this world. And then on the other end, wearing down the Alvarados and the Stroms. And it's not a good recipe for success. So the bigger question here is, when is Ranger coming back? And it's a valid question, and you brought it, Tim. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. He pitched 75 pitches last time, or excuse me, what was it, 56, and then he's now up to 78. They're bigger questions, and I know Tyler from Phil's Tailgate, is going to be talking to us in a few minutes, and we'll talk a little bit more about Ranger. Let's cover a couple of things before we bring Luke in. The bullpen, 5.28 ERA, number 29th in baseball. It was 28 last week. How about that, guys? By the way, actually, our ERA went down.
Yeah.
From it was like 5.56 to 5.22. The number that I put in there is a 5.28. But it's scary. And by the way, our starting pitching leads MLB. We're number 4 in innings, and we're number 1 in strikeouts. So 9th in base on balls. So the starting pitching is doing an amazing job. But our bullpen, it is a major area of concern.
Yeah, Romano had a stretch previously where you thought maybe he was coming out of it, and then he had that disastrous Saturday performance. So yesterday was good. We'll see if that translates to anything else. Orion Kerkering, the Phillies need those 3 or so appearances where he really got hit hard to be a blip on the radar, and if they are, he's one of your top guys. I trust Alvarado, I trust Strom, but like you said, wearing them down it is a concern. And I think they've done a good job in general managing Luzardo. He could have potentially been stretched out to 8 innings a couple weeks ago. They held him at 7 on the Sunday game. So I think I worry less about the starting rotation, especially because you have some margin for error. Not that you want anyone to get injured, but if one guy goes down, you have Ranger coming back, you have Andrew Painter at some point this summer. Worst case, you have Joe Ross you can try to stretch out again. The bullpen, if Matt Strom went down or Jose Alvarado went down, you're screwed. So
there's no plan B in the bullpen.
No, there's not really a plan A, but there's certainly not a plan B.
I think the Romano is the key. Like you said, it seemed like maybe he was getting out of it. And first it was like, I picked up this mechanical issue with the leg kick. Now things are going to settle down. And then I heard someone claim that maybe he was tipping his pitches in the start after that. And that's the type of thing you hear from a guy who's really going to have an unsuccessful season, where it's just, now we got to fix with this, or now we got to fix with that. But this is a known risk that they took. This is the gamble that they made in terms of going with this bullpen, sort of really rolling the dice on Romano coming back and being healthy and effective. And it's a gamble they've lost, at least for now. Hopefully,
yeah, that's the thing. We talk about there is risk in giving Jeff Hoffman a 3-year deal, but you have to consider what the alternative is, and that's going out Romano. And I get why he was an interesting bounce back candidate. If he was going to be like your number 3 reliever, right-handed reliever, that's great. But to have him come in as your number 1 right-handed option, it leaves you with no margin for error. And this is a guy that had an elbow problem last year and also only pitched 15 times last year. So there's a chance when you take these risks on guys, it's not going to work. And so far it hasn't worked. Now, he may be coming out of it. He's working hard. I don't doubt that. But obviously you're going to have to see a little more.
Luke, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
It's great to have you here. How's it going?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to talk.
You didn't go to the White House?
No, not at the White House.
By the way, I didn't say it in the beginning. Jeff is not here because he's in the White House, and he's selfies of himself and
Big
all
J
that.
at
I
the
mean,
White House.
incredible.
You think he's picking up any girls at the White House?
Yeah, well, he has his Penn State hat. I mean, anything is possible. I mean, he tells me he's not catching anybody with his Phil's hat, so he has to apply to his Penn State hat. It's great to have you here, Luke. So we wanted to bring kind of a very important question when Luke was here, which is, what are your views of the performance of the new Phillies? So I don't know if you can see these slides. I mean, I'm testing these new systems now, so let me see if I can put our stats here. Let me see. Put this in the stage. There we go. There we go. So let's talk about. Let me see here. Let me move ourselves for a minute, and then I'll bring you guys back on. Can you guys see the slides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's our hitting. So we got Kepler there. How about that? Take it over, Luke.
Yeah. So I think as far as Kepler, I honestly think I've been maybe a little higher on him than some people have. I think I've seen a good amount of, maybe off to a slow start, which I don't think maybe this isn't the start that people expected. But I mean, at the same time, he's hitting the ball better than Trey. He's hitting the ball better than JT. Like he's been a pretty productive-ish bat so far. The biggest thing for me has been he's getting on base way more than he really has ever in the past. The on base percentage right now is about 50 points higher than his career average. It's at 353 right now. The highest it's ever been in his career is 332 over a full season. So obviously just a 25 game sample size, but he's walking a lot more. Last year in 105 games, he walked 22 times. This year, he already has 12 walks in 25 games. He's getting on base a lot more. Obviously, I think that people want some more pop, and I think the team could use some more pop out of him. I think that will just sort of happen over time. I'm not necessarily, worried about his bat. I expect him to continue to play left field, but at the same time, I think it's a little telling looking at the lefty versus righty splits. And heading into this season, they were very adamant about him playing every day. And then you go and look at the splits, and he has a 445 OPS against lefties and an 840 OPS against righties.
Whether right, Luke? This was his history before.
Yeah. And what was the OPS again? Read the OPS.
It's 445 against lefties and 840 against righties. So it's about a 400-point difference. And whether they say it or not, it's slowly starting to turn into a platoon. Whether it's, these occasional Schwarber games or when Marsh is in there occasionally and left. But these days that Max Kepler's getting off is none of them are against righties, and I don't think that's a coincidence.
Now that Weston Wilson's back, I think Weston Wilson is playing left field against
exactly.
Absolutely. Weston Wilson mashed lefties last year. I think he probably would have been on the opening day roster. If not, Max Kepler got 3 weeks or whatever of runway and didn't do a ton. I get it's a small sample size. Doesn't mean he won't play ever against lefties, but your best option in left field against lefties is Weston Wilson. I don't think it's particularly close right now.
Yeah, and they didn't really have a choice with Kepler early as well, because they didn't have Weston, and your next best right-handed bat off the bench would have been Edmundo Sosa in left field. And it's not something it seems like they're insanely comfortable with doing on I would say maybe 3 times a week basis against lefties. But now that Wilson's back, I mean, if there's a lefty on the mound, it's probably going to be Weston Wilson in there.
I would just argue that they had a choice. The choice was back in the offseason to get a right-handed bat or a left-handed bat, and they went with the left-handed bat in Kepler, and you're getting pretty much what you probably should have expected out of Kepler. He's hitting well against righties and not against lefties, and that's.
I'm surprised on the on base percentage. That's a really, really good number at 353.
He's walking a ton. He has 12 walks through 25 games. And I mean, like, while he's I wouldn't say slugging. He's I feel like he's hitting a good amount of singles. Like, he's finding grass a lot. So I've honestly been pretty sort of happy with how he's started off, even if it's not, exactly what we expected yet.
Well, he's a victim of his own success in spring training, I think. He looked like Gary Bonds in spring training, where he was squaring up every single ball that he hit, and you're like, oh my God, did the Phillies find a diamond in the rough? There's like just a reality independent of Max Kepler that the fit it never really made that much sense because it's another left-handed hitter. So he might have a good season, but you still have this problem with too many lefties in the lineup, I think.
What do we think about Wilson moving forward? I know he's had great numbers against lefties, but it's been a small sample size. I think only about 60 at-bats.
You got to give him the opportunity.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about him, quite honestly. And I thought down the stretch last year they made a mistake not pivoting from Austin Hayes to him sooner. I think he's just better, honestly. I don't think he's going to play against righties, but twice a week or whatever it is, like I think he's good there. He's capable at a few different defensive positions. He's passable, I would say, defensively. So it's unfortunate he can't really play center field, but in left field and then occasionally third base or second base or whatever, like I think he's a good bench player.
Let's go pitching. There are a few more here, so I'll hide us momentarily.
Yeah, I mean, at the top, I would honestly argue that Jesus Luzardo has probably been the best starter so far this season. I think it's probably between him and Wheeler. But yeah, he's the MVP.
He's the MVP of the team so far.
He has been everything the Phillies expected when they traded for him and more. His hard hit percentage is the lowest it's been in over 5 years. His walk percentage is at a career low. I will say the sweeper has really taken over for him. It's been a pitch that he's really used well this year. He's getting a ton of whiff rate on it. It's like nearly 50% right now. It's been really, really good. And to have another lefty that dominant in your rotation is really big for them, because obviously you had like early season Ranger last year, but then you went kind of into the summer and your only true dominant lefty was Sanchez. And now to have Luzardo, to still have Sanchez, obviously we'll hear what happens with his forearm. But like you guys said, it doesn't seem like it's anything crazy major as of now. But there's a very good chance the Phillies have 3 dominant lefties in their sort of rotation here.
Yeah, and I just can't. I don't get what the Marlins were doing this past offseason. I know that the Cubs, like Ken Rosenthal reported, the Cubs backed out, and maybe the Marlins were afraid if Luzardo's not healthy another year in a row, his value is going to completely plummet. But I'm looking for articles I read for Bleacher Report. We're already doing prep for who's going to be the big trade candidates. This summer sucks in terms of trade candidates. Sandy Alcantara is the big one, and he has not been good so far. Like if they had held on to Jesus Luzardo, you're talking about a significantly higher price than what the Phillies paid in the offseason. So the Phillies are lucky in that sense.
And they have another great arm, which is Eury Perez.
Yeah,
the guy that is coming from Tommy Young. He's the real deal. I mean, he's throwing 98 already, by the way.
Right.
His first outing in the minor leagues.
They'll trade him in 2 years. It's just
they'll trade him by the deadline.
It makes no sense.
It's the circle of the circle of the Marlins. By the way, Luzardo, just to finish on Luzardo, he has one season where he's thrown more than 100 innings, which was in 2023 when the Marlins made the postseason. He had 178 innings. The previous to that one, it was the previous year, which was 100. He threw in 24, 66 innings because of his back problem.
I think he's a guy like Sanchez. They've built up to the point where you expect 180. I think Luzardo is more like 165 type. He's not a workhorse necessarily. There'll be games where he goes 7 innings, but in general, I think of him as more of a 5 or 6 inning guy, and that's fine.
Okay, let's go to the next guy, Joe
Ross. Yeah. So I will say I was kind of looking at some of his splits, and it's really kind of odd. He's always had generally like normal splits from lefties to righties. Lefties have always hit him better as a right-hander. He is the complete opposite here. Righties are hitting 342 against him with a 929 OPS, and lefties are hitting 190 against him with a 499 OPS. That sort of surprised me. I wouldn't say he's necessarily, been the guy they hoped they were getting. But at the same time, I don't really know how much they expected from a guy that wasn't necessarily either a starter or a reliever. That he was just kind of used in Milwaukee wherever they needed him. So I will say he hasn't allowed one earned run over his last 6 1/3 inning. So maybe there's something trending there. I feel like the velo's been a little more up than it was in the beginning of the season. But yeah, not a guy that at the beginning of the season I was hoping would have to take down some big innings, but that's kind of been the case so far with this bullpen.
Yeah, I don't really understand exactly what they signed him anticipating.
Yeah.
Like I viewed him more of a swing guy. They never stretched him out in spring training, and he's been all like this past weekend. He looked good out of the bullpen. The Atlanta series, it was a disaster. So I don't really know if he's a long man, a leverage guy. The whole thing is a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, to me, his inconsistency is my concern. I mean, I will never forget what he gave Osuna in Atlanta. I mean, it was a ball in the middle of the plate. I mean, at I don't know, 80 miles an hour. I mean, the
And
guy
Austin
put it on another
Riley.
planet. Yeah, and Austin Riley, absolutely. Yeah, he. I mean, he's looked very inconsistent. That's the way I look at it. I think he has talent. I think I give him praises for what he did. After Christopher Sanchez got hurt, that he came in for him. In New York, I mean, I give him a lot of praises. He threw three gutsy innings there, but I mean, we just need more consistency out of him.
I think that's more what his value is pitching like
Long.
a starter or a long man, as opposed to being a guy that comes in the 8th or 9th inning.
Yeah,
and that is
we
the
saw
challenge.
it the other day in Chicago too. I mean, they used him for 3 innings, and he actually looked probably the best he's probably looked all season.
Yeah, because he's a starting pitcher.
And that is my concern. Once Ranger comes back, you're going to have 2 lone relievers in Taiwan and Joe Ross, and that is, to me, is a little bit of concern.
Well, that's maybe a way that you can manage. Like I think when Ranger comes back, he's going 4 or 5 innings, which is one of the reasons I don't understand why he needs to be stretched out to 90 pitches at the minor league level. Because when he comes back, I think he's going to make 4 or 5 innings a start early on. So, and Taijuan Walker will probably almost piggyback with him. So I think that's what it'll be in the short term. I agree. As Taijuan Walker's had a nice season so far, I don't really know what his value out of the bullpen is necessarily.
Can I give you a concern, Tim, that I've seen? I've seen his fastball decrease his velocity over the last 2 starts. I mean, he was throwing 93 in the first couple of starts, and I'm seeing him now at 90, 91. And look, he threw 3 innings, and I know it was windy, 3 innings, 86 pitches. I mean, that is only 2 runs, which was amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, that first inning, though, he got screwed by like every which way. I'm trying to remember there was a play where the ball dropped in barely into left field and hopped into the stands. There were multiple. Max Kepler didn't get a good read on one. Yeah. Was there a Trey Turner mistake in there?
I believe there was an error in that inning too.
Right.
I think it was a throwdown from JT. And I think it was the throwdown.
He didn't make the. He did make the swipe, just not that it hit the runner. But yeah, so I mean,
it feels like the first 2 starts were really, really good, and the last 2 has been so-so.
Well, I mean, he left 2 starts ago with the shoulder thing, so we'll see how he holds up as the season goes along. But considering where he was at last year, I think it's been a pretty remarkable turnaround for him that he's providing value for you so far. And I guess we'll see if he's able to do, assuming when Ranger comes back, he goes to the bullpen in some form. We'll see what value he has.
Let's talk Romano and Hernandez. We're going to have Tyler join us momentarily. Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, so for Hernandez, I mean, not a ton there. It's a waiver pickup that's been bad. There's not, I don't really expect much out of many waiver pickups. What's unfortunate about Hernandez is if he could locate the ball, he'd probably be an okay bullpen piece. He just can't get the ball over the plate. I mean, he throws gas, and his off speed actually isn't terrible. He just can't locate the ball at all.
He has a good arm.
So
he
does. He has a really good arm. He just can't find any location. I do think, obviously, with some rumors lately about like this Heth Johnson stuff, him moving into the bullpen down there, I think if they do make a call up, it seems like Hernandez is probably the odd man out. I don't know how much longer Hernandez will be in this bullpen, but not really a ton there for Hernandez.
You're going to have to make a move when Rainier comes up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think he's got really good stuff, so he'll probably get claimed if they DFA him. But he's frustrating because you can't trust him to be in the strike zone. When he's in the strike zone, though, he looks like a guy that could pitch in the ninth inning.
Yeah. That's the most frustrating part, is because if he could quite literally just throw the ball over the plate, his off speed is really good. It's just he just cannot locate the ball.
Yeah, just unfortunately he's not there right now, and there's going to be it's going to be a numbers game when a couple of these guys make their way back, and I agree. I think he's the odd man out.
Let's talk about Romano.
There he is, probably the hottest topic, I would say, of the season so far. I think you framed it perfectly before I got on here. Jordan Romano coming to this team being the third best righty would have been good. Him basically having to take down the top right-handed innings right now after a few bad outings from Kerkering is extremely not ideal. I will say I was pretty encouraged by last night. I thought his stuff looked good. The velo was still up. I feel like what's tough for Romano and a lot of these guys that only have two pitches is the tendency for a two-pitch pitcher is if one of your pitches isn't working, the other one probably isn't working either. They just go very hand in hand. So I don't know. I mean, it's been a roller coaster, definitely. He's shown that he can be really good, and he's also shown in that Saturday game against the Marlins that an 8-run lead might not be safe when he enters the mound.
Yeah, the problem with him for the rest of the season really is he can go 3 months without giving up a run, and the second a runner gets on base, especially at a home game, like it's going to be a lot of nervous energy because of the first impression he made. And it's a professional athlete. I get it. Like it's your job to set things aside like that, but that's got to be difficult to overcome that perspective or that perception.
Yeah. I mean, and it's definitely like going to a new city after coming off arm injury. Like this guy obviously, and not like every athlete doesn't, but he obviously wants to be as good as he can in his new city and sort of make a good impression. And it's been the absolute opposite of that so far.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up on him yet. I mean,
no,
this guy, other than last season, that has.
I mean, we can't. I mean, the reality.
Yeah, well, that's
the
thing. They have no choice to give up on him. They physically can't.
So hopefully the tipping concern that was there is over, and we get the better version of Romano moving forward. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago. I mean, he had, 31, 32 saves. I mean, for 2 straight years in a row.
He had 95 saves between 2021 and 2023.
Yeah, no, the guy has tremendous experience closing, which was the whole reason why Dave brought him on board. But the bigger question is, I remember him blowing a number of saves toward the end of a couple of years ago. So hopefully, I mean, the tipping thing was the issue that we identified. We has been corrected, and we get the best version of Romano moving forward. Hey, Luke, thank you so much, man. I truly appreciate it. Where can we follow you in social media?
Yeah, so it's either Luke Arcaini or Arcaini Luke. They're all either first name, last name, or last name, first name. Sort of
Luke Arcaini. How about
that? It's out there. You'll find it if you look up.
Thank you, brother. Looking forward to follow you and continue. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Okay, now we move from Luke, and now we have Tyler here. Let's bring him to the stage. There's the man. Tyler,
how's it going? Everything's good. Thanks for doing this on Monday.
The man behind Phil's tailgate. Yeah, I mean, we could do it how about that, Tim? We could do it like at 1:00 in the morning. I mean, after a Sunday night game. How about that?
Well, I think we did that one year from the press box last year after a Sunday night game.
And we did one from the car. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
We put the car and we those were the days of Twitter Spaces where you can just go and connect anywhere. So, hey, Tim, let's talk a little bit about Tyler. Let's talk a little bit about our some of the minor leaguers. So let's bring this to a stage. So we got a couple minor leaguers here. Talk to us about the minor leaguers of the week, and then we can talk a little bit about what's going on with Ranger and Andrew Painter so far in the minors.
Yeah, we'll start with Otto Kemp. He is our favorite man that doesn't have a position. So still playing a combination of first, second, third, and left in Lehigh Valley. This past week, he had a 4 hit by pitch game, which was the first time that's ever happened for the Iron Pigs. It's never happened with the Phillies. Chase Utley had 3 once, but that was it. But he just keeps hitting. I think the biggest problem though is he has very limited experience in the outfield, and when he plays the infield, he's not that great at it. But he's an interesting option, and all he does is hit in AAA. So it's been pretty impressive so far with Kemp.
He's not a great defender. I mean, he has. I was talking to Steve Porter, and he mentioned in terms of he's been working very hard at his defense, trying to improve it. He's a third baseman. He can play left field. He can play first base, maybe potentially right, but he's not going to be your best defender out there. But the guy he can hit. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and we've been seeing that since last year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed just from looking at defensive highlights from him is he seems to be very slow getting the ball once it gets hit. Like, he just seems very delayed. And I really think that that's the biggest issue, because he can definitely make some plays out there, but his reaction time just isn't that good.
There is always an opportunity for a guy that have a big bat to make it to the major league. So that, without a doubt, let's talk about Mick Abel.
Yeah, and Mick Abel's been looking a lot better, really ever since that one blow-up start that he had in spring training against the Red Sox. But the biggest thing with him is he's keeping his velocity high throughout the games, too. I mean, even in the 6th inning of the game that he pitched last week, you can see his stats right there. He went 7 innings. He was still throwing 96, 97 into the 6th inning there. So it's been very encouraging to see. I know that there's been some talk about moving different starters to the bullpen. And, with Abel, I think just keeping him in the rotation, keeping him getting consistent starts, just seeing how he does and getting him more comfortable is still good for him. I believe he's 23 still. So there's still a lot there. Hopefully he's just consistent with it. And when he eventually gets the call up, I think it'll be better if they just leave him in the rotation for now. And if he struggles, then you can move him to the bullpen. But I think you just got to keep going with him the way he is right now in AAA.
I think the stat that impresses me the most is the 28 innings, 11 base on balls. I mean, he had major issues with his control last year. So that shows a significant improvement versus where he was.
If he keeps pitching like this, I think this is the year where you sell high potentially, because he doesn't really have a path to the rotation with the Phillies. You're not sure even if he's going to be good necessarily. So if he's pitching like this, and I'm not saying he would headline a trade, but if he's like the number 2 guy in a trade, I think that's the most likely thing with him at this point. I don't see a huge path. And Otto Kemp might be the same deal, where these guys will make the majors, but it won't necessarily be with the Phillies.
Look, it's I think Kemp is a bat that could come up with an injury. I mean, and you give him a try, you bring. I mean, that 1.072 OPS. I mean, it's eye popping. And then we know the talent. We got Mick Abel out of high school. Not everyone is going to pan out. Look, let's give him some time and let's see where we end up. 2 more pitchers in the minors to pay attention to. Talking to Steve Porter, that he mentioned kind of highlights Casey Stewart. He pitched 6 scoreless innings in Jersey Shore. And then the other guy, there's a very, very young guy. His last name is Pacheco. He's originally from Venezuela. He's in the development league, and the kid apparently he throws like in the high 90s and has tremendous potential. So Brad Pacheco is his name, and he's 19 years old. So it's a name. He's in the FCL Phillies kind of minor league system. So it's somebody to pay attention to down the road. So those are a couple of names out there that we throw. Now, kind of the bigger question, Tyler, which is the question both about Ranger and Andrew Painter. Let's talk a little bit about both those two guys.
Yeah, well, we'll start with Ranger. I mean, he continuously keeps having great minor league rehab starts. I was pretty surprised that he didn't surpass 80 pitches in his last start. I would have thought that they would have tried to push it up to at least 90, but it seems like the plan is going to be to just have him do another rehab start, which I don't necessarily know if I agree with. I feel like he's ready, but I mean, he's been doing great so far. The big issue that he had the last time was just a lot of pitches. I think it was like 78 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. But, he's getting the strikeouts. It's just a lot of full counts, a lot of foul balls. But he's been impressive, and I don't see any sign of any injury. So it's been encouraging.
Any reason, I mean, Tim or John, from your perspective, I mean, why Ranger is not up yet?
No, I'm a little confused by that. I had believed this would be his last start, and who knows? Maybe we'll get there tomorrow, and Rob Thompson will say he's coming back this weekend or whatever. I guess they don't need to rush him because they don't need him necessarily. But if he's healthy, he's healthy. He's ready to go. I would bring him up.
Yeah, if he's healthy, he's part of your team. He's one of your guys.
An all-star.
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy now, you may not want to go out there and let him throw 7-8 innings, but if he's healthy, let him pitch in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst that happens? Taijuan goes to the bullpen. I mean, we saw his last start, Taijuan's last start, that maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. So
yeah, he might be turning back into a pumpkin,
and I'm sure Ranger wants to be back here ASAP. So, I mean, look, let's hope tomorrow Topper just tell us he's coming back and we move forward with this. I think the most important thing to keep an eye on is Christopher Sanchez. I mean, that is until Christopher Sanchez doesn't throw, 5 innings and doesn't have any issues with his arm. I mean, I won't be happy. I mean, look, if anything happened to Christopher Sanchez, it's not gonna be easy for this team because he's a core component of this. I mean, what Wheeler, and the good thing is Nola is kind of turning it around, which had a great outing yesterday. I mean, it's going to be absolutely critical. How about Painter, Tyler?
Yeah, Painter's last 2 starts have been really good. His first start, when I watched it, there was just a lot of full counts with it. Someone else gave up those runs of his anyway. But he looks just as advertised. You can tell watching these starts too that he's just mowing down these guys with ease. So they're definitely keeping him back a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how long he's in Clearwater for, or if they're just going to, slowly progress him off the ladder or just throw him in AAA at some point. But yeah, he's been doing great so far. It's just the competition has no chance against him.
Yeah, I mean, look, from your perspective, Tim and John, I mean, what's your perspective in terms of what's going to be the process for bringing him back up?
I would think you're going to have him progress, that he goes to Lakewood and Reading and Lehigh Valley. So you got to be getting pretty close to the point where he goes up a level, I would think. And they don't need to rush him, but if July is still the loose target date, you're getting to the point where maybe he goes 4 innings in a start. Maybe he does it at Reading instead of Clearwater. You want to see him kind of prove he's too good for competition, even in the upper levels of the minors.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it's probably about time for him to move up. The hitters seem overmatched at this level. I haven't been as excited about a prospect like this in a long time. So health first and foremost. Any conversation about him moving to the bullpen, I think should just be eliminated right away. I mean, this is the type of guy who can anchor the top of your rotation for a decade. And you don't toy around with that just because, Jordan Romano has been a disappointment and you need to fill
right.
in the bullpen. So, I think that's the attitude of the Phillies organization as well. I think they're going to make sure he's healthy, bring him along on his innings count with that loose target in mind for the summer. And but yeah, I would like to see him throwing some of those innings against a little bit, AA, AAA guys.
Yeah, and at least in like the Arizona Fall League when he was pitching, I mean, I know they don't send the best prospects there like they used to, but at least it seemed like there was some actual competition.
Yeah.
And we're just not seeing it right now.
Yeah, so I mean, he's gonna throw about 120, 130 innings total for the year, and it's something to keep our eyes on. I mean, it's going to be very, very important. That I mean, look, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Steve is letting me know here that Painter is going to be pitching on Thursday at Dunedin, so that will be kind of his next start. I think they're starting him once a week. Kind of that's how I feel right now, but let's see when he evolves from the 3 inning to the 4 innings and it started. But I agree with you, Tim, in terms of it's going to be gradual and it's coming to the minor leagues. I think, look, the target is what we've heard is July-ish. So we're talking probably in the month of May, you kind of get him up to 4 or 5 innings, and then you get him up to 6 by the time in June, and then just bring him back up. I mean, and grow gradually to our system.
It's a bit of a unique challenge, right? In that there's a certain number of innings that Andrew Painter can throw this season. You would like to have more of those innings in the major leagues than in the minors, but you also have to have him go through a progression and sort of get ready. So it's tough to thread that needle, and it's on the organization to handle it correctly.
Well, and you want him to throw enough innings this year that next year he can build up. If he throws 110 innings this year, he can throw 140 innings next year, something like that.
Yeah.
So one thing, the Mets just beat the Nationals 19-5 with Nemo having 9 RBIs. I did not have him on my fantasy team. By the way, I do have Gilbert. Just FYI, Tim, you're talking about the guy going down.
You had Elliot Ramos on his inside the park walk-off home run.
I did.
Hey, Oscar, I traded Nimmo for Charlie Morton.
Oh my.
Yeah, not great.
No bueno. So let's talk about kind of this week. I mean, so the Nationals are coming, and then the D-backs are coming to town. I mean, the Nationals are playing much better. They took a couple of games out of the Mets. I mean, surprisingly. So prior, I mean, they lost today, but prior to that, they've been 6-4 over the last 10 games. They've been playing better baseball, and they got talent. I mean, that team, they got some players in that team. That Wood kid, I really like Wood. I think that guy's going to be a heck of a player. He reminds me a lot of De La Cruz and Cruz from the Pirates. I mean, tall guy. I mean, he's lengthy. He had like a 450 feet home run a couple of days ago or a few days ago. I mean, the guy can hit.
Yeah, and Dylan Cruz, their other top prospect, he was ice cold, but the last 10 days or so, he's really come out of it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're a better team than they've been in the past couple of years, but the Phillies are still going to have to. The Phillies are still better.
Yeah,
the Nationals and the Phillies are still going to have to rack up wins against the Nationals because that's been their path to a good record the past couple of years.
Well, and what we saw that first series, the Nationals bullpen outside of a guy or two is really bad. Yeah. So the Phillies should be able to get through that. They got to figure out something with Josh Bell. I mean, you can't keep letting Josh Bell kill you every single time you play the Nationals or whatever. He's going to get traded to another contending team. It's inevitable.
He's everywhere. No matter every time you turn around, who are we playing? And Josh Bell.
The one thing with the Nationals that's been intriguing to me is just their starting pitching. And you look at all these losses that they keep having too, and it's like starting pitching does great. Bullpen is just awful every single game.
Yeah, they got the worst bullpen in baseball.
Yeah. For a young team that's improving, that's usually like the last piece to come around, right? Yeah. Like you get your starters in place, you get your lineup, and then you have an offseason where you sort of fix the bullpen.
Pitching overall is 512. Their number overall, they are the 27th team in baseball. Let me see where the starters are. Right quick here. Starters. The national starters are 13th, 384. Not bad at all.
Yeah, and
they got the worst bullpen.
The Nationals are a team they should take care of. Then the Diamondbacks are a tough team. I mean, they're 15-13, but they're in a division that 4 out of the 5 teams right now look like they could win 90-plus games. Corbin Carroll is a top 5 player in baseball, I think. Eugenio Suarez, even though they lost the game, hit 4 home runs in a game over the weekend. The one that's really jumped out is Geraldo Perdomo, who has always been a good fielder, but he's had some really good offensive stretches this season too. So he's been great. And Brandon Pfaadt, who kind of came of age at the worst possible time for the Phillies a few years ago, is having a nice season too. So
new contract might help.
Yeah, and that's a team that how this series goes could determine wild card seeding or something down the road. So that's a big series this weekend.
Hey, I mean, the Phillies know better than anybody not to take the Diamondbacks lately.
Yeah, their biggest issues with the Diamondbacks have been in Arizona. That's like the worst place that they can play, I think. But it's a team that will travel wherever. They have their pitching hasn't quite gotten to what they expected so far, but their lineup is really good.
It seems like every time that the Phillies play, their hitters can't hit home runs, and then Suarez gets 4 in one game over there. But the big thing with the Diamondbacks for me is outside of Pfaadt, how their starting pitching has all struggled essentially.
Yeah, including Corbin Burns.
Yeah,
he's not being the best version of himself.
And Merrill Kelly looks awful. Like, I'm shocked his ERA is even 4.41. I mean, he's been terrible. Gallen has not looked good. Eduardo Rodriguez has just not really been good at all since they've gotten there. So Shelby Miller, he's got a 1 WAR in the bullpen. So
yeah, their bullpen's interesting.
That's them while they're struggling here, and
yeah, that's the guy I would have expected to struggle. But
hey guys, one last thing from Steve here. One more start for Andrew Painter in Clearwater, and then he's going to go to Jersey Shore. So
good.
So the clock has begun, and the future of the Phils it's nearby. Let's put it that way. I mean, he's going to go into a rotation. Everybody agrees on that. I don't think he's going to the pen.
He might go to the bullpen in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he's in the rotation.
I think it'll depend. I mean, how about if he pitches completely lights out? I mean, he might be our second starter after Wills. I mean, hey, let's hope. Let's hope, guys. Let's leave it here. Tim, John, Tyler, thank you, guys. Tim, where can we follow you in social media?
At Tim Kelly Sports and on Pattison. Obviously, John and I are both there.
Wonderful. How about you, John?
Yeah, catch us on Pattison. We're doing some exciting things. Check us out every day. It is free, no login, no paywall. Something that's rare nowadays. So definitely check out onpattison.com. And you can find me on your favorite socials at 2008 Phils.
Wonderful. And you have the great, what is it, the stoplight? What is the
the Phillies stop.
Yeah, we've got an incredible branding going on.
How about that? Incredible branding. Everything is about Pattison. Come on Pattison. Tyler, where can we follow you on social media?
Just at Phil's Tailgate. I appreciate all the support from everybody.
He's the dangerous one. He's the dangerous one. Tyler, take care. Thank you. So tomorrow we got Wheeler against Gore. Then probably Taiwan Walker on Wednesday if everything goes according to plan. Right now it's TBD. That's Wednesday, and then Thursday TBD against Brad Lord. That's the pitcher for the Nats. So looking forward to a great week. Hopefully better than the 2-4 of this week. And again, cannot thank you enough, guys. Thank you for joining us, and looking forward to see everybody soon. Okay.
All right. See you guys.
Cheers. Go Phils.
Go Phils.
Lanzamiento, aquí viene un batazo de Mundito entre right center field, la bola pica, se extiende, viene anotando Stott, empata el juego, también manda para la bola Turner anota y los Phillies se van arriba. Se prepara Mundito en segunda, el lanzamiento, batazo profundo para el center field, la bola se va, Schwarber Bob, ¡campanazo! Aquí viene el lanzamiento. Swing y